I lose you, I'll try to dial back in.
Okay. And all of us are here with the exception of Billy, and also Larry Anderson is present.
Okay.
Okay, so we're now recording and we're live streaming. So for the record, let's state that again. Today is June 17th. It is 5:05 p.m. This is the Beach Commission. Members present are Samantha Snow, Michael Folcarelli, Donald Medeiros via telecommunication, and Joseph Mayato. Absent is Bill Ryan. Also in attendance is Jim Farrell, beach manager, Cindy Gould, the secretary, and one member of the public, Larry Anderson.
All right, very good. Thank you, Carol.
You're welcome.
All right, so the first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting. Do we have a motion on that?
Don Medeiros, motion to approve.
Michael
Okay.
Folcarelli, second.
I have a motion made and seconded to approve the minutes of the meeting of June 1st. All in favor?
Let me do roll call. It's so much easier.
Yeah.
Is Samantha,
Aye.
Michael,
Aye.
Donald,
Aye.
Joseph,
Aye.
unanimous.
Good. That is a better way to do it. Next item is correspondence. We have a letter from Rosa Volpe pertaining to yoga at the beach. Do you want to speak to that, Jimmy?
Sure. She's a former lifeguard. She's done this for the last 5 years, I believe. She does do lifeguard, sometimes workout trainings with the lifeguards for free in the morning. She's an asset, I think. Never had any problems with her and stuff like that. So
Okay. Has she filed the appropriate paperwork?
yes, she does have a copy of her insurance and everything came through with the letter.
And it names the town?
Yes.
Okay. I'll accept a motion to approve Rosa Volpe doing the yoga classes.
Don Medeiros, motion to approve.
Michael Folcarelli, second.
Okay, I have a motion made and seconded to approve Rosa Volpe doing the yoga classes at the beach. I'll do the roll call for the vote. Samantha,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Donnie,
Aye.
Joe Mayato, aye. All right, we have the bills. We got quite a list of bills there, Jimmy. Like 20 pages of bills over here. I guess it's that time of year, right?
Yep.
And in addition to what we have on the list of bills, we have Micah Shapiro from the previous meeting, correct?
Yes. Again, as I talked with a couple of you about, wanted to either hold off on paying him or pay him the whole thing. He's a little guy. I think maybe paying him half might just throw some gasoline on the fire, and he's still got the big job to do with rebuilding the changing rooms. So
Okay, do we
held off
have
to
the
this point.
cash? I think we have we talked about it, Jimmy, and I think we do have the cash because of the parking lot took a little less than what we'd allocated.
I think there was a note we saw from Donnie, though, that was saying that Tony told him that there was like 22,000 left of the 35,000. I'm not quite sure where that other 15,000 went. I don't know, Donnie, can you shed some light on that?
Yeah, I went in and spoke to Tony on that, and he was at a loss to be able to actually find that. And so apparently there is no $30,000 in the ledger. But he got together with Bob and Tony's assistant, Mr. DeAngelis, I think if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, and they found that figure that was sent in the email that you just named, Jim.
Okay, yeah, and again, you know, so it gives me an idea where it came from. The 35,000 was in the warrant that was presented to the financial town meeting. It was not put as part of the budget.
That was approved, right?
Yes.
So
Are you,
Okay, so,
talking about the-
okay, so maybe there's a little, that's where the confusion comes in.
are you talking about this year's financial town meeting or last year's?
Last year's.
Okay. Then that's probably where the confusion came in.
all right, so Jimmy, are we good cash wise to pay Micah the whole thing?
As far as what we've got, no. I mean, if you guys look, I don't have it in front of me, but I gave you the income expense report, which shows us about $7,000 left to make it through to July 1st. But if we can pull it from that 35,000, yes.
So, but that 35,000 is in there, right?
It's not figured in those figures in the income expense report. Anything other than what was asked for the budget is kept separately. You know,
But I mean, it's in our account though, right?
I don't know. Again, it sounds like from Donnie's conversation, they don't know either.
All right, Jimmy, can you do this? Can you meet with Tony? And we'll approve that contingent on you making sure that the cash there is there to do that.
All right, and the other thing is we're within 15 days of being into the new
I know.
budget anyway. So, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, good point. Can I jump in for a second? Joe, can you meet with Jimmy and Tony as well? You know, this is your area of expertise. That it would be really helpful, I think.
Yep.
If that's possible, you know, talk to Jim and Tony, see if you guys can get together, the three of you. I think that would be tremendously helpful of the commission.
All right, Jimmy, talk to Tony and let me know when he can meet with us, all right?
right, sounds good.
But what I'd like to do is take a motion now so that if we don't have to delay it further for Micah, that we can do it that way.
Yep, sounds good. I mean, it's only $1,800, that bill, so it's not a huge bill.
Well, what's this 8,730?
That's for the rebuilding the changing rooms, and which has not even been started yet.
Oh, okay. So he hasn't even done that yet. So we
No.
don't need to worry about that.
No.
And so the 1,800, we don't have enough for that?
It's going to be tight, you know, Phil. And again, we had a lot of when the budget was done for last year, COVID wasn't completely 100% thought of, and
Right.
you know, we had 17,000 extra with the night shifts. We had all sorts of added expenses that were not figured in. I do know that Tony and Bob have said something about that there's contingency funds to help deal with that. We did put in, you know, noting that we had almost $50,000 worth of added expense in that COVID report at the end of last year.
Right.
So I don't know whether anything's coming back or not. But if we're dealing true to the line with the budget, we have $7,000 to make it through the next 15 days, which is not a
Yeah.
lot of money to do that.
All right.
I'm wondering, Joe, can I jump in for a second? I'm wondering
Go ahead.
if from that 30,000, Tony and Bob were thinking that the 15 or so, which was allocated for the municipal resiliency grant money for the beach work, which hasn't been done yet, and the other town projects, the other two it was earmarked for, haven't even been designed yet. I'm wondering if they didn't realize that we can spend that money this year and still another year put forward the money to meet that town's match on that state grant there.
Yeah, but
So maybe you guys can find out about that.
that would be in the current financial year, wouldn't it, Donnie? This is money that we're still looking at from
2021.
July 1st, 2021, no, 2020 to June 30th, 2021. So Jimmy, I
Got
think
it.
we should meet with them anyway, because regardless of this bill and without this bill, we can't lose $35,000 because they don't know where it is, you know?
Yeah. And again,
Right.
you know, if it can be used to pay Wilkie now, you know, that'd be great. You know, his bill's about 21,000. Then I think, Donnie, you've already got permission to do that, I think.
That's not, Wilkie's bill was and the gravel were separate bills totaling 22,000. Wilkie was like 10.2 and the gravel was the difference.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep, but I think they said, Bob and Tony said to pay that, to go ahead and pay that.
So I think it'd be really important if, Jim, if you and Joe could meet with Tony and even Bob if he's around, and it'd be great to iron this all out so everybody knows what's happening. We don't have to keep going back and forth.
Yeah, we'll
'Cause
do
again,
that.
like I said, every time I talk to them, oh, well, we've got contingency funds. I'm kind of like, okay, that makes me a little nervous, you know?
Yeah, no, let's get
Yeah, it was
that
my
straightened out.
understanding. We put aside a chunk of money for specifically for the beach commission. So for things like this. So yeah, see what you find out, and we'll give us a report at the next meeting.
Sounds good.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay,
actually, the
and,
next meeting, if we could just get okayed now to go ahead with that, because the next meeting is into
June
the next
29th.
It's gonna be the 29th.
Yeah, June 29th.
Now I've got up here the next meeting is June 1st, but with a notation, we need to move it.
June 1st, you mean
But
July
that's-
1st?
You mean
I think
July
that's
1st, but
July, or June 29th. Okay, never mind. We do have time for a meeting before the next fiscal year starts. Sorry about
Yeah.
that.
That's okay. All right, so I do want to get a motion to pay Shapiro, providing that Jimmy and I can clear it up with Tony, so that we'll have the funds available. So the motion is to approve the payment of Micah Shapiro, contingent on getting that straightened out. And if not, then we'll be into the next period anyway.
Don Madeira, so moved.
Corelli, second.
Okay, I have a motion made and seconded for that. All in favor, Samantha Snow,
aye.
Mike Focarelli,
Aye.
Donnie Maderis,
Aye.
Joe Mayotto, aye. Motion passes unanimously. Okay, on the bills, I'd also like to have a motion to pay the current bills. Jimmy, just so that, for clarity purposes, especially, given the name, Shannon Farrell, what is the 58 for?
That she bought supplies at Staples.
Okay. And everything else, why don't you just run down the list quickly?
Okay,
And,
hold on, I don't have that in front
All
of
right,
me.
I'll give you the names and you can tell me what they were for, all right? So Tapas for 312.6.
Paper, toilet paper towels.
All right,
cleaning
Cindy, did you
supplies.
get these amounts?
You probably sent that to me, right, Jimmy?
Yeah, I'll give you so number
Yeah,
one.
I just haven't gone
Shannon-
online. I haven't, I'm wasn't at work and I haven't been online since yesterday, so.
All right,
If
why
Jim
don't you
sent them
list,
to me, I can get them all when I go online. I'll go online and get them.
I'll list them down one by one, Cindy, anyway,
Okay.
so that we can approve them officially on the minutes. So Shannon Farrell was 58.76. Tapas is 312.60. Tapas.
Same thing.
Focus.
And Jimmy, what did you say that was? 312.60?
That was toilet paper, paper towels, cleaning supplies, wipes.
Okay, AT&T, 47.82.
Okay, and again, if you guys look at that bill, there was that confusion where we're credited because what the fire department had been paid a while back. Then the fiscal manager there got it straightened out, and we had a bill for $280. We paid $190 the last time, and so now we're back under the regular schedule. The bill should be about $47 every month now.
Yeah, this is just the standard. Okay, Humphreys, 394.01.
Again, paint, hardware, etc. with Humphreys.
Lawrence Waste, $345. That's for the dumpsters.
Dumpster, yeah.
300
Wilbur,
what?
345.
And again,
Thank
that's
you.
for a single dumpster, so we probably will be kicking that up. Probably 4th of July week, we'll put a second dumpster in there.
All right, that's your judgment, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Wilbur's, 135.68.
That's water, mainly water, water, hardware, supplies, paint.
Okay. Rogers Machine Shop, $225.
He built 8 new stanchions for us, the things we use for the signs, and separating things.
Oh, the rims with the post on it, welded on, yep. Maritime Solutions, 135.95,
The battery on the boat was dead, so we need to replace it.
okay. John Costa, 600, that's for moving the stairs, the
Yeah,
chairs.
he moved the containers but he also moved the stands this year. That's why it's more money.
Yep. And Jim Farrell, 215,
That's for Red Cross for certifications,
okay, and Val Lab for the testing of the water, right?
water test, yep. And we'll get the water test and all the legal documents for that into the files in the town hall.
Okay, and Val Lab was 360, Cindy.
Thank you.
So there's a grand total of 2,829.82. I'll accept a motion to pay those bills.
Michael Fogarelli, so
John
moved.
Madeira, so moved.
All right, Mike Focarelli made the motion and Donnie seconded it because he was second. I have a motion made and seconded to pay the bills of 2,829.82. All in favor, Samantha Snow? Samantha?
Aye, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Mike Focarelli,
Aye.
Donnie Maderis,
Aye.
Joe Mayotto, aye. All right, the next item. So, all right, the next item on the agenda, did we need to talk about anything, Jimmy, about Micah under bills?
No,
On
not
the
really.
agenda separately?
We got the basics done there and stuff like that. I have not been able to get a hold of him to determine whether that 8,700 includes masonry. I'm kind of thinking it doesn't. But again, like we said the other day, some of the concrete and the bricks there need some work. So I want to make sure he's including that in that price.
All right, you can get back to that, to us on that, on the manager's report for the next meeting. Next item, discuss submission of potential town charter amendment for consideration by the charter committee. Amendment would propose putting beach revenue into a restricted capital account for operating expenses, maintenance, repair, and improvement of town beaches. This would change the current practice of putting all revenue into the general fund and requesting a budgetary figure at the financial town meeting. I would just, and Carol, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I think Donnie put this up, but before we get into discussing this, I just want to remind everybody, again, Carol, correct me if I'm wrong, but the budget committee makes recommendations, accepts information and studies it and makes recommendations, but ultimately it has to get approved by the town council. Is that correct, Carol?
Well, I guess I need to understand your comment better. The budget committee does just review any
Not the
budget.
budget committee, but if I said budget
No,
committee, I
I
made a
think,
mistake. Talking
Joe,
about the,
Joe, take the budget committee, take the budget committee out of it. It's just, if there's a proposed town charter amendment, that needs to be approved by the town council. The charter
Right.
commission would
And then
make the recommendation, but the town council has to approve it. The budget committee isn't involved.
Right, I didn't mean to say budget committee. I meant to say charter review commission, sorry.
And Carol, any amendments to the charter have to be, it's general voting as well, isn't it, Carol?
Yes, yes. So what happens, I know Larry wants to speak on this, but let me just give a little comment. Right now, if you propose something to the Charter Review Commission, that just sets them in motion to look at what you're proposing. They may or may not think that that's a good idea. If they do, they will then propose something to the town council, who will then do their own review and decide whether they do or do not want to put it on a ballot for the November 22 election for the people to vote on it. So there's several layers here. This step would just be you having a conversation with the Charter Review Commission.
And
Right, so even if the charter review commission thought something was a good idea, either the town council or later the public could shoot that down.
Yes, definitely.
Well, the public are the only ones that vote on it. So what I heard Carol say is if the charter commission thinks it's worthy, they recommend it to the town council. If the council thinks it's worthy, they recommend it to be put on the ballot so it goes to the people. Is that
Right.
correct,
Right.
Carol?
That is true. But if the
Right.
council gets it and they don't think it's worthy, then it gets stopped there. It doesn't go to the people.
Then they kill it. The council gives it the thumbs down. It doesn't go to the voters.
It can, yes.
Correct.
Good question.
Okay,
Would this
that's
be-
really clear.
With the,
Okay.
with the
Thank
beach
you.
commission being set up by the state legislature, does this fit into this category or not? Should this
Well,
be?
It is a little different. So I think even when you have a conversation with the Charter Review Commission, this particular type of proposal may very well need to have a legal opinion given as to whether it's appropriate for the charter or whether it's more appropriate for something on a legislative level.
And who would provide
cool.
that legal opinion? Is that a Humphrey thing?
Yeah, would be the town solicitor.
Yeah.
I know Samantha's been trying to say something.
Sorry, if we take it to the Charter Review Commission, what happens if they decide not to take it to the town council? What actions are taken?
It
By
just dies. It just dies there.
And so our
In,
hands.
in terms of a charter review amendment,
Okay.
because all they're doing is reviewing the home rule charter,
Mhm.
and they're taking input from all of the boards and commissions as to whether there's something that they would like to see changed. And then they will review those potential changes to see whether or not it makes sense. And if it does make sense to them, then they present it to the council, and the council will then decide whether or not it goes on a ballot for the people to vote on.
And it sounds like an alternative route also, as Jimmy brought up and Carol explained, that it may be possible to get a legal opinion that says something different than that, based on the
I
fact
think at
that.
some point through this process, you're going to need to find out whether or not this is the proper legal way to do what you're proposing, to find out whether or not it is even legal to do what you're proposing.
That's great advice, Carol. That's spot on. So can we do something like maybe somebody make a motion to have maybe we don't even need a motion, but should we have a commission member try to reach out to Dick Humphrey and ask that question and get an opinion as to what the proper venue and course and avenue is?
Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea. Donnie, since you brought this up, do you want to handle that?
I'd be happy to.
Okay.
So let me ask you another question, though. Does the council have to, would that be the beach commission's responsibility to seek the counsel of that, or would that be the charter review's responsibility to seek counsel for that proposal? Because
I think it would be beneficial for us to do it, Mike, so that we know which direction that we should take. It might not even be that we should be going to the budget. I mean, I keep saying the budget committee, the Charter Review Commission.
okay.
It may be that we need to go another route because of the way we were established by the state legislature. So I think it's beneficial for Donnie to have a chat with Dick and figure that part out, and he can get back to us. So Cindy, keep that on the agenda for the upcoming meeting.
Agenda? Okay.
And now, Joe, don't forget, Larry Anderson wants to speak. I have a hunch it might be on this topic. So maybe
Oh,
before we,
okay.
Well, that's when his hand went up.
Yeah, so can you, I'm unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yep,
we can hear you.
Larry. Go ahead.
So
hi, Larry.
as Carol suggests, and based on my experience, I've been on a couple of charter review commissions and in various other seats, but each town board has almost a separate legal history, and you're one of them. So that the questions of what may or may not be needed to change your procedures where you're created by state law, but you are cited in the charter, definitely will have unique considerations that have to be taken into account. So you may seek a legal opinion. My guess is if you ask 3 different lawyers, you might get 3 different answers on this one. That's just my hunch. But your prior discussion, the prior discussion you just had about your accounting for the current year suggests to me that what you have in your agenda here as to questions is worth pursuing, because clearly there's some confusion about how your budgeting is done. Even the language of your charter, and I understand that you haven't written your proposal yet, so you have your own questions, but it's confusing right off the bat to propose putting beach revenue into a restricted capital account for operating expenses, maintenance, repair, and improvement of town beaches. I mean, typically, boards and the town, by accounting, distinguish between operating accounts and capital accounts. They don't run them as one account. So my first question as I read this is, what is your intent? And you've got to come up with that first. What is the problem you are facing that you want to solve? So that's on you to clarify that as you go to the Charter Review Commission. To Carol's point on what can happen is that the town council, by constitution, can propose charter amendments at any time, Charter Review Commission or not. We have in our charter a Charter Review Commission, and they typically allow the Charter Commission to make the proposals. So the council can also, they don't just approve or deny Charter Review Commission proposals. They can also amend them before they go to the voters, which they have done on charter commissions I've served on. So there's more than one opportunity to edit this in any process to get to your end. And but I'm watching this. I'm out of the loop now, but clearly there's some current confusion about your various accounts, and I think it needs to be straightened. And you're getting to the end of a fiscal year, so this, for your current purposes, this has to be addressed immediately. And I have a selfish interest. It also has to be clear where the money's. We've already made a commitment to the state. I signed the proposal that says we've allocated money from existing funds for your share of the municipal resilience thing. So that's part of the confusion. So this got to be straightened out now between you guys, the town administrator, the town finance director, and the council. You got to straighten this out, some of this out now before their charter. But
yeah, I agree, Larry. That's a good point. I was on the Charter Review Commission as well, and the only thing I wanted to bring out was about the process, because just because the Charter Review Commission thinks something is a good idea doesn't mean that's the end of it. I just wanted the rest of the commission to understand that, because when I served on the Charter Review Commission on certain subject matters, we did a lot of work. We interviewed people and thought that this charter amendment was a great idea. And then it got to the council at the time and it was just shot down. So it's not a foregone conclusion by any means. So Larry, I think that hopefully Jimmy and I meeting with Tony and perhaps the finance director, if he thinks it's necessary, we can get this straightened out as to exactly what happened there.
But
If you think that you'd like to be present, Larry, I would welcome you in view of the grant situation.
well, I'm out of the loop there. I just wanted to raise it because we did make representations in our application about the availability of existing appropriated funds. So and that number, the number that was floating around there, the 35,000, was part of our application. So we don't want to double spend it or find out it's not there or whatever. I don't have to be there for that, but
Okay.
as I heard that there sounds as though there's some current confusion, which for everyone's sake needs to be clarified, and it'd be nice if it were on paper so you could all see it accounted for.
Right.
so
Good point.
But can I make one point? I encourage you to pursue your proposal. This seems like a timely moment to discuss your accounting and how you're treating your budget, your capital, and operating expenses going forward. So I think the charter review process presents a good opportunity to look into this some more, and I encourage you to do it, to pursue.
Right. And Donnie's going to be meeting with Dick Humphrey, and perhaps the wording can be changed a little bit so that maybe it's the surplus that goes into a capital account instead of, using that word for the whole amount going in, so that it's in an operating account as well. All right.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, Joe. I think because the wording was, it was my words that, I put the item on the agenda.
Right.
Yeah, that has that account issue, capital expenditure, that definitely needs to be, get more thought on that, so.
Yep. Good
So,
point, Larry. Thanks for the input. Appreciate it.
Thank
Donna,
you.
didn't
you.
Tony offer us an account?
He basically, from the beginning, has said he thought that our fund should be going into a separate account.
And he offered, I believe that sometime last year, he offered that we could have an account. So maybe in a conversation with him, because I think that what the goal of your motion is so that we can have a separate an account that doesn't go into the general fund, so that we can directly use the money that is derived from the revenue of the beach. I think it'd be interesting to talk to Dick Humphrey, because the enabling legislation, when we looked at that a little while back when we were discussing, I can't remember what, was that the money was designated for the general fund.
Yeah, you definitely.
Yeah, I
need to
believe the last charter amendment might have made that change, but I could be way off on that.
Yeah, I don't think it did.
I don't think it
You
did.
definitely need to
Okay.
discuss that with Dick Humphrey.
Yep, because it's in the enable.
Yeah.
I believe it has to be changed in the enabling legislation, but Dick will know about that.
So Donnie's going to meet with Dick, and Cindy's going to keep that on the agenda for the next meeting. The next item on the agenda was the logistics of the process of incoming and outgoing emails. And what I'd like to do is centralize this so that when people communicate with us, they communicate with us through that email address that Jimmy has. But Jimmy, I'd like to have you give Cindy access to that. So when she sends out a communication in response, it goes out from one central email address. So all the communications coming in and coming out go to one address. But what I'd like to have her do is either blind copy the commission on it, so we know that the response went out, what it said, and so forth, in case there's ever an issue, or just forward it to us as soon as she sends it out, one or the other. What I don't want to do is have our individual email addresses out there. And the reason being, I don't want people to start communicating with the commission through individuals, because then it gets very murky if somebody forgets to forward it to the rest of the group, or just forgets about it entirely and it falls through the crack, and timing wise, things can get messed up. So if both, Jimmy, if you can get with Cindy and give her access so that when she sends out an email that we ask her to send to communicate to somebody, that it goes to the through the main email address. Okay.
Suggestion, Joe, so that you're not dealing with literally hundreds of miscellaneous, what time does the beach open emails. Why don't we create another email for the beach commission?
Okay, we can do that.
Because again, like I said, I think you're going to be dealing with a bunch of irrelevant information, and if you had something important might get lost in the middle of that.
Right. I'm not suggesting that. I think your idea is a good one, but I'm not suggesting that we all get access to that. Just Cindy, and mostly for sending out a communication, because now instead of sending letters, a lot of times we send emails, but this would be a good way for us to know what's going on. For example, Sam asked for a copy of the Gary Nitkin response.
Yep.
I don't know if she got it, but I never saw it. And I think would be good for the whole commission to see things like that when they send out. So Jimmy, could you get together with Cindy then and work out a way and establish an email address for her to send things out, official communications from the.
And we do, if I feel that there's a communication that the commission should see, I do forward it to all of you. But again, like I said, we do. I mean, there are days when we have 40 or 50 friggin' emails on there, and half of them are like, what time does the gate open?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
So again,
No,
one
that's
of
a,
the reasons.
that's a good point, Jimmy. And I think that if you get an official communication that is to the Beach Commission, you could forward it to that address that Cindy has, which will be the Beach Commission's email address.
Yeah, or we could just keep picking them out and just forward them directly to the, we've got the group, the Beach Commission group, that we could just forward them all to as we go through them.
All right. It's mostly, I'm concerned with the outgoing communications so that everybody sees them, but yet I don't want people responding to individuals because that.
All right,
that
well,
would
we'll
be-
make sure that Cindy gets access to that South Shore Beach at Gmail account and stuff like that, and that way, and she'll also have access to your group.
But you're gonna create a new one with her, right?
Well, let me talk with her and find out what would work best, whether we want to create
Okay,
a
because I
South
think
Shore Beach Commission, or whether we want to just have us look at them and then forward them to you guys.
yeah, just figure out one that makes sense. But I'd like her to be sending out emails on not Cindy Gould email address, but the Beach Commission email
Okay.
address.
Or
Or a
in that
Beach
case,
Commission
it
email
probably
address.
we'll have to create another email address.
That's fine. I mean, you can do a Gmail one or something, right?
Yep.
Yep. All right.
When that's decided, maybe we should post that or make that public if we decide to create a separate email address.
I think, Sam, that it would be better to keep the email address the way it is because Jimmy's the one that's dealing with all those questions about, is the beach open and what time and, how's the weather? Does it look good down there? Whatever kinds of crazy emails he's getting, because I don't think Cindy needs to be getting all that stuff. You know what I mean? So I think Jimmy's point to keep it separate is fine, because then if somebody sends an email to the Beach Commission that Jimmy gets, he can forward it to Cindy and she can forward it to the group, or he can forward it to the group one way or the other.
Okay.
I think it keeps it cleaner that way. That way Jimmy, as the beach manager, can handle all those extraneous requests. All right. Then the next item on the agenda is a report on the annual preseason parking lot maintenance. Jimmy, do you want to? I think that's over and
sure.
done with on the last.
I thought so. I thought we talked about that at the last meeting.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Chris,
Yeah, you wanted it
Chris
back
did a
on the
great job
agenda
as
though.
usual.
Okay.
I thought it was to approve. I thought it was to approve the invoices for payment. That's why we put it on the agenda.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and there was the last meeting. There was that one gentleman that sent the complaint about the potholes and stuff like that. And welcome to South Shore Beach. It has potholes every year.
Yeah, that we can't.
Yeah, I think
worry about everything.
This comes from like not understanding like what we have to deal with and how we have to the means we have to deal with it, which is namely the beach throws the winter storms throw huge cobblestones up on the parking lot. The first thing we have to do every year is we have to push those cobbles off the parking lot before we can start repairing the parking lot. The only place to push them is towards the beachfront. So we push them to the beachfront till they roll down the bank, or they form the beachfront. That's just the way it is. So he was talking about retaining walls and whatnot. I just think it comes from not understanding what we have to deal with. As the season goes on, as the sand that's out there, it comes in, you get more sand on the beach. So anyways, my 2 cents.
And with regards to the potholes are created because of flat areas. So if you have a flat area and puddles form and cars drive through them, what happens is what's called the fines, the little small pieces of sand and gravel splash out of the pothole and out of the puddle, and it creates a pothole. Continuous driving over it, that's what's created. We don't have the luxury of building the beach to a different elevation so that everything can be sloped and avoid that. So obviously,
well, Joe, we do. Actually, we do. We haven't done that work. It was too soon to be able to get the grant money to do that work this spring. But we have an approved engineered permit from CRMC to raise the grade at the entrance to the beach and put in raised gravel and put in the old asphalt that's always been there that's now covered with gravel. We're going to bring it up. So we should be getting rid of that pothole situation at the entrance to the beach. We just got to bear with it for another year till
Right.
the
and
grant
that
money
would
comes
require-
through and everything's in order.
That would
Personally, I'd-
require a retaining wall to change the elevations there.
Personally, I'd like to stop referring to. them as
There'll be no
potholes.
retaining walls.
Sorry,
There'll be
Jimmy,
no
what did you
retaining
say?
walls there.
I said, I personally would like to stop referring to them as potholes and call them speed bumps.
Oh,
They work-
speed bumps.
they
Good
work very
idea.
well for slowing people down. Yeah.
Actually, that's a good point.
Good point, Jim. Excellent point.
All right.
In
the
fact,
next
that's one of the
item-
concerns of when we do put the asphalt in, is that's
Yep.
going to start to encourage that situation.
The next item on the agenda is to review the Nature Conservancy's request to the Coastal Resources Management Council to modify the Goose Wing Beaching Ascent Permit and Nature Conservancy Management Plan. We asked this to be carried forward, and I would just like to report, and Donnie can chime in as well, that as a sort of, I don't know if you're going to call it a subcommittee or whatever, but we have continued to meet. We met with the representative for the Nature Conservancy, and we had a very good meeting. But there are other steps that have to be taken on his end. So he has to get approval from his superiors and anticipates that he will. But we're in process with that. Donnie, did you want to add anything?
No, that's a great assessment, Joe. Thank you.
And we can carry that forward as well.
Can I just have a quick update of what this is about, because I obviously missed out on so much of this. What's being modified with the ascent permit?
Donnie, do you want to take it or do you want me to?
So I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand your question, Sam. Could you repeat it?
Can you just give me a quick update, since I'm so behind on this? What's being modified with the Goose Wing Breaching Ascent permit? Just like
Okay. So it's so to give you a quick brief history lesson. Nature Conservancy last year, when they did their when they and we separately individually did our 10-year renewal permits with CRMC, somehow they included Tunipus Pond breaching in their permit that they have on their land to breach Second Creek down at Goose Wing. So this is all stemming from clarifying that. That was just an oversight, a miscalculation. It's something that we've been pursuing for the last year, just to set the record correct.
Okay.
Right, and part of it was that there was a filing made in the town records that was incorrect. And the result of this negotiation should be that will be corrected. And going forward, our goal is for us to have responsibility all the way up to the boulders on the other side of the first creek. And that will clear all this up. And when we need to breach, we won't need to get permission from the Nature Conservancy, because they don't need to they have no desire to be involved in that anyway. It will just clean everything up. When they need to breach the second creek on their property, they will go directly to the CRMC. And when we need to breach the first creek, we will go directly to the CRMC. It just clears everything up. And we'll also be giving them an easement to get their equipment across our property to get to their property to do that. That's kind of in a nutshell, what we're attempting to accomplish here in writing, so that there's no confusion going forward.
Perfect. Thank you for that.
All right, you're welcome. Now, the next item on the agenda is the strategic plan for maintenance and repair improvements to town beaches. I think that's all part of that subcommittee, and we're just keeping that on the agenda going forward. But we're continuing with the efforts for those things. And part of that also does involve the Nature Conservancy, because Lloyd's Beach is now in the hands of the Nature Conservancy, contingent on their ability to properly manage it. If not, it reverts to the Audubon Society.
Mike, let me ring you right back.
So that's the story with that, and that could probably be combined into the previous one, Cindy, to carry forward,
Okay,
just kind of
alrighty.
of that subcommittee. And the last item on the agenda is a report from the beach manager on all operations of the beach. And Jimmy will be also giving us a brief report on the current status of the unfortunate incident that happened at the beach, the accident.
All right, quick thing I want to start off with was just getting another vote here quickly to approve my signing of the bills for this next budget coming up as of the 1st.
Okay.
So basically, you guys approving me signing bills and payroll for you going into the next budget period.
Okay, can somebody make that motion?
Samantha Snow makes a motion to approve.
Okay, Samantha makes the motion, giving Jimmy authority to approve the bills and the payroll, and Mike Focarelli seconds it. All in favor, Samantha Snow,
Okay.
Mike Focarelli,
Aye.
Donnie Maderis,
Aye.
Joe Mayato, aye. All right, so go ahead, Jimmy.
Okay, and again, I will try to get you guys all emailed out, all the bills that are being turned in, a few days before any meeting. Again, I've rearranged the payroll dates so they line up better with the treasurer's office. So they have a few more days to work on payroll, unlike what we used to do with having the meeting and the payroll actually getting turned in before the meeting and that sort of stuff. So
Right.
it flows a little bit easier, gives them a couple more days to get the payroll done. Couple other quick things. I don't know whether you guys noticed on the income expense reports. We had, not last weekend, but the weekend before, the best individual day we've ever had before was $8,100. We did $23,000 and $24,000 Saturday and Sunday 2 weeks ago. So not only did we beat the best days, we crushed them. Again, the majority of that is season passes. We're selling more of those than we ever have before. System seems to be keeping pretty much everybody happy with the being able to be, residents and season pass holders only from 5 to 8, and then residents and season pass holders only after 4. The beach has been great again. We're not running into the issues with the vandalism and broken beer bottles and stuff like that on the beach, stuff like that. We've had a very good start to the season and stuff.
You mean because of the security, right, Jim?
Because of the security, because we're even on weekday nights, we're not getting the crowds down there and stuff like that, and the drunken, beer parties down there that we used to get. So it's created a much better situation with the beach, and I think it's keeping town residents a lot happier with the way it is. Basically, it gives them back their beach at night and gives them access to the beach before anybody else. Those sort of things. We do get a few people complaining about why don't we have more reserve spots for town residents. Well, we went from saving 10 spots when we start getting busy to 25 spots. So we've more than doubled the spots we save for town residents and stuff. So anybody that's complaining to you about that, that's something you can bring up to them, the fact that we do have more than twice as many spots that we saved before we closed the beach. One of the things that got misconstrued a little bit was we are stopping the policy of allowing town residents to drive around the parking lot when the parking lot is closed. Again, with a discussion with the police chief and stuff like that, we all just feel that's not safe. There's a few people that are a little cranky about that, but again, we will always give town residents get priority. They'll get the first 25 spots when we open up again. So if you have any questions about town residents being denied their own beach, we bend over backwards to try to keep them happy.
Well, and I've had conversations over the past week or so with several different people about that subject as well, Jimmy, and I've posed it the same way. And you just have to face the fact that not everybody's going to be happy all the time. And if you want to go to the beach, it's not reasonable to expect that somebody's going to just wait until you decide, well, I want to go at 1:30 today and I expect a reserved spot for myself. Well, that just doesn't happen. It's not realistic.
So we'll go from there. A couple other quick things on as far as the accident, where police chief basically is doing most of the work with that. Bob was doing the press releases. All the staff down there, and including the staff that was present, was told that they are not allowed to talk to press with regard to this. We have seen 2 insurance inspectors down there already. One of the nice things, I don't know if you guys have been down there since the work was originally done, but the grade is already starting to deteriorate, and it's more of a gentle angle now and stuff like that. Mother Nature is the best landscaper around, and she's rearranging the beach as we talk. Not too much more to say on that subject with the accident there. Again, we've got all sorts of crazy requests, everything from let's put up a guardrail to let's have valet parking. So I don't think either one of those will work well. So we'll keep trying from there.
I think what people don't understand is that the land there is not stable. In the winter, everything shifts around. If you put a guardrail there, that guardrail would be all twisted up and just be a mess. It's just not that kind of a area.
One of the gentlemen that I talked to that does highway safety stuff that was saying that, hey, I have an accident every friggin' day on 95 and you don't see me rebuilding 95, do you? It's an accident. It doesn't happen a lot. If all of a sudden we end up with a dozen of these, then yeah, we should address something. But this was an accident. The lady didn't put her car in park, and it's unfortunate for the poor lady that got run over, but there was nothing that I don't think the physical properties of the beach contributed to it at all.
Okay.
So that's one thing. One last thing on a kind of a funny note. I think it might have to do with the last with the meeting that was going on at the Commons last weekend. I had a gentleman. We got new flags to put up around the camper area and at the entrance. And I asked the lady that makes the flags just give me a bunch of assorted different colors. And I had a gentleman who said that he was going to come to the meeting tonight, but obviously is not here, that he was offended by why is the beach flying gay pride flags? And I'm like, these are multiple color flags that were picked up at random. They're not anything like that. So if you hear anybody bitching about it, it's my fault. I asked for random colors and that's what we got.
Yeah, don't worry about it, Jimmy. Like I said, it's one thing you have to face when you're on a committee or a commission. You have to know ahead of time, you're not going to make everybody happy.
Yep. I thought he was rattling my cage at first, and I looked over at his face and I'm like, oh God, you're serious about this. I need to walk away.
Yep.
So that's pretty much it. Everything else is in pretty good shape, and we've got great shape for lifeguards. One other quick note, our illustrious insurance company, the Interlocal Trust, has a new group inspecting us. They did, after hiring the Red Cross Aquatic Examiner service, which we told them right from day one is not a proper service to be inspecting surf beaches. We discussed with them. They did hire a new group that's made up of 2 lifeguards from Narragansett that are going to be doing an inspection of the beach on 27th. So I just want to make you guys aware of that. This is a lot better than having the Red Cross do it because they know about surf beaches. Again, it's dealing, I've got a meeting with them in 2 days to discuss how to inspect beaches and stuff like that, which they don't know how to do yet. So just want to give you a heads up on that in case you see anything that ends up from the Interlocal Trust.
So you're going to teach them how to inspect you then, huh?
You got it. I've got 15 years worth of beach inspections, with USOA under my belt. They've got none. So
yeah. Jimmy, one other thing, and I don't know who was supposed to get back to us on this, but I know I had a brief discussion with you on it. That woman, I'm trying to think of her name. Was it Margot?
Margot Crawford.
With the other surf therapy group.
Yeah, wasn't she supposed to provide some additional information to us?
Yeah, basically, we want to know what she's doing. Along that same lines, I don't think it's going to be a problem with Gnome Surf. We have had a bit of a problem with them. I did tell them that there is to be absolutely nobody admitted to the beach anymore if they're not on the list that you're supposed to provide us. That was part of his agreement. He had 50 cars there last summer. Last
When?
Sunday.
50 cars?
So 50
Jimmy, I don't know,
cars there
on my
for
end,
his,
you
his,
cut out a
day.
little bit there. I'm not
Oh,
sure if
yeah,
it's
sorry,
affecting
I'm getting
everybody, but
unstable internet. There we go. Is that better?
I can hear you.
Okay. So basically, he had 50 cars there last summer after hours. And he was told, his original agreement is he's supposed to provide us with a list of who's coming. And the excuse was, oh, I'm so busy. I'm like, well, no one's going to be admitted from now on. I know you're doing good work and stuff like that, but you can't be doing this, just showing up with 100+ people and, expecting us to say, oh, glad you're here,
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah,
And
I
I
agree.
noticed that the other day,
So-
he was having a couple of other staff members there and he wasn't there. So he has to make sure, he's in charge. He has to make sure that those people know what the rules are and that you need to be informed. The issue was that the girl that's doing the other stuff with the PTSD was formerly with that Gnome group. And I think that they didn't part on the best of terms.
No, they didn't.
So I wanted to make sure that Cindy, did we communicate back to her saying that we wanted some further information and that everything had to be coordinated with Jimmy?
During the meeting, yes, you actually told her that.
Yeah, can we follow up with an email and tell her that we haven't received that from her, and this goes to the new email deal that we'll
Okay.
all see what your communication is on that.
Okay,
So that these things don't fall between the cracks, okay?
sure.
All right, and you haven't learned anything different about that, Jimmy? You're not thinking that that's anything more than just bad blood between the two?
Yeah, I think it's bad blood between the two. And again, it looks like they're going for different different clientele. I mean, she's going for older, post-traumatic stress, and he's dealing mainly with kids with autism, that sort of thing. He's kind of fizzled out the dealing with adults end of his program.
Yeah, and she's not really doing surfing instruction. She's kind of doing some swimming stuff and some meditation, I think, and things like that.
Yeah, she did have one surf instructor that was working with her also, so she was planning on doing some surf. But again, she was supposed to get us a complete outline of times, the amount of people, and what exactly she was doing, and we have not seen anything from her yet.
All right, so I would say, Jimmy, to just keep working with Gnome on that other issue and make sure that they understand that, their program might be getting bigger, but we can't, we may not be able to accommodate
not an
that.
open gate.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Does anybody else have any other questions for Jimmy? That being it, the next meeting is on June 29th. And that will be at 7 p.m. Is that okay with you, Carol?
Yes.
Actually, while you're talking about meetings, we do have a notation on the June 1st meeting, there being a conflict there. So I don't know whether you want to talk about changing that one at this point in time.
Are you talking about June 1st, the meeting that already went by?
I'm talking about July 1st. I'm sorry. Oh, no, wait a second. I'm screwing up again. I'm looking at the wrong calendar. Sorry.
Yeah, because July 1st
Never
wouldn't be.
mind.
Okay. All right then. So
June 29th at 7 p.m.
Yes,
Is that right, Joe? June 29th at 7 p.m. Is that the date?
that's
Yes.
correct. And Carol,
Thank
it will
you.
still be a Zoom meeting, I assume. We haven't been able to improve the audio situation.
Not yet. So it'll
Okay.
still be Zoom.
All right. That being the case, I will accept a motion to adjourn at 6:04 p.m.
Don Madeira, so moved.
Michael Focarelli, second.
Okay, I have a motion made and seconded to adjourn at 6:04 PM. All in favor, Samantha,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Donnie,
Aye.
Domiato, aye. All right, see you guys.